Hello, welcome to the update. I'm Susie Thompson. The European Union has slapped a landmark €1.8 billion fine on Apple for restrictions on apps, preventing users from finding alternative, cheaper music streaming. Spotify had lodged the initial complaint with the EU, and Competition Commissioner Margrethe Vestager says the US tech giant has been abusing its position for at least a decade.
Apple can no longer impose rules such as the anti-steering obligations, which were at the core of our investigation in this case. And this holds for any app on the App Store, not just music streaming apps.
Apple says it will appeal the decision, saying there's no evidence consumers have been harmed. The US Supreme Court has unanimously restored Donald Trump to the country's presidential primary ballots after several states attempted to hold the former president accountable for the Capitol riots. The justices ruled the power to keep presidential candidates from appearing on ballots belongs to the Congress and not individual states. Donald Trump has labelled the ruling a unifying factor for the nation. A WA boatie has been saved from perilous conditions after being forced to cling to rocks on Karnak Island. Police were called when the swimmer couldn't get back to his boat about 10 kilometres off Fremantle. A surf lifesaver jumped out of a helicopter and into the sea, then swam to the man and strapped him to a flotation device. Rescuer Emile Mercier says the man was lucky.
Got knocked around a bit. It wasn't the prettiest situation to be in. Quite a sharp surface. Wasn't the nicest to be upon, and lots of barnacles, crustaceans on it. He was worried about how sharp it was, but I just needed to make him realise that we needed to hop back in the water to get back to safety.
And U2's mega shows at the Las Vegas Sphere have come to an end. They used a special recording of Neil Finn singing Don't Dream It's Over, dedicating to the widow of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny, who believes her husband was murdered just weeks out from the Russian election. Sport and entertainment are next. In sport, the AFL is reportedly close to signing a deal with Warner Brothers, who have copyrighted the term Tasmanian Devil. News Corp says surveys showed that the Devils was far and away the most popular name for the new team, which will be formally launched on the 18th of March. And in Sheffield Shield, the final remains within reach for Western Australia after a 146-run win against Queensland at the Wacker, while the Tassie Tigers have beaten Victoria by 57 runs, and New South Wales has drawn with South Australia. In entertainment news, the estate of the late Sinead O'Connor, as well as her record label, have issued a statement asking Donald Trump to stop playing her hit Nothing Compares to You at campaign rallies. The 1990s song has been used in the last week at events in Maryland and North Carolina. The statement says O'Connor would have been disgusted, hurt and insulted to see her work misrepresented. And Sir Paul McCartney was front row for a runway show for his designer daughter Stella in Paris. He was joined by bandmate Ringo Starr and Paris Jackson. The Beatle was involved in a bitter feud with her dad, Michael Jackson, at the time of his death in 2009. And that is the latest from the Nova podcast team. We'll see you later on for another update. I'm Susie Thompson.